Welcome to a Toast to Truth. This is where I share the mental, emotional, and financial frustrations of being an entrepreneur. This is season 7, episode 2, Shady Referrals. And today's question is, how do you deal with the referrals you receive that cause you a headache? So I brought in a friend. Well, she's probably more than a friend. She's like family. So ReeJade Richmond, we have known each other for years, and I believe we met on Twitter during Women CEOs Summit. She was doing a Women Empower Something Summit a few years ago, and that's how we met online. And we've just been connected ever since and have done things ever since. And it's one interesting tidbit, we have yet to meet in person. However, I feel she's like a kindred spirit. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with ReeJade about Shady Referrals because, as you know, in season 7, we're talking about betrayal in business. And a referral can make or break business relationships. So I'm going to go ahead and let ReeJade kind of come on board, and we'll start this conversation and just see how how it goes.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Yeah. So we actually met, it was actually on Facebook when Christy Jackson was doing her Women CEO summit when she was just starting her summits, her global summits online. And that's actually how we met because we kept communicating back and forth in the chats and stuff. A lot of us were. And so that's we've kind of been stuck to each other ever since then.
Yeah, I was like, I knew it was a summit, but I knew it was online, but I'm like, I don't remember where online. But yeah, it was definitely the summit.
Yep, absolutely. And we just been stuck with each other ever since.
Yes, like I know my company is called The Truth Confidant, but ReeJade is definitely one of my confidants. One of those people where I'm like, let me go talk to someone sane so I don't do anything that's going to bring me any type of legal, ramifications.
Absolutely. You know how I am.
Yes, because I'm like, we all get there, especially in business. You're like dealing with people, especially what we're going to be talking about today. And you're just like, okay, let me go talk to someone about the situation and see if I'm the crazy person in here. And if I am,
hmm
let me go ahead and resolve it. But if it's them, let me figure out how to get away from them.
Exactly.
So,
And you need that in business. You definitely do, you know.
yes, you need biz besties. You need people who are gonna check you in a sense. Like Lynette from season 1, she's someone that she's very calm and even tempered. And I called her about the decision to leave HAB, in February. And so she was like, well, let's look from their point of view and let's look from their perspective. And so it wasn't like, even though she's my friend, she didn't, come on board and co-sign me venting. She was like, let's look at the whole situation here.
Absolutely.
And so when you have friends like that, you 9 times out of 10 will not receive a shady referral. They're
hmm
going to vet those people because it reflects on your reputation. Like ReeJade was posting some things the other day, and that kind of sparked this particular episode. I was like, yes, we need to talk about this because ReeJade, and I'll let her, kind of tell a little bit more about herself and her business, but she's a lawyer and she runs a business teaching leadership to women, and she has a goal to help I think it's like 1 million women create
hmm
$1 million businesses within the next few years. And so when you send a referral to someone of that caliber, they need to be ready. We talked about it last episode, but yeah, I'm going to let her kind of talk about some of the referrals she's been receiving. But when you have someone who is of quality, of top caliber, you don't send them a referral of someone who's going to drain them and cause them nothing but headaches because they're going to nitpick on everything the person is suggesting they do. And that person is way competent in what they're doing, or else they wouldn't be at the top, you know?
Right.
Okay, so, tell a little bit about, who you are and what you do and how these Facebook updates came to be the other day.
So as she said, I'm ReeJade, but everyone calls me Jade, and that's fine. So I'm a business and legal strategist. Yes, I'm an attorney, but I prefer business and legal strategist because I like to relate to my clients. Like, I don't want them to feel like, oh my God, like anything I'm sharing with them goes over their head. So I prefer that term. And over the years, Vernetta, she's known me. My business has evolved so many different times to make it work, just like her business has evolved. And I think we were both in a state of our businesses where we're in our happy places. And so
Yes.
I'll tell you all, I've been the business junkie. I've been the attorney. Had so many different titles, and now I'm just happy where I am. So what I do now is that I help women get legit, and I help them build profitable businesses by showing them how to wear their big girl panties. So if you follow me on social media now, within the last 3 years or so, you'll have noticed that I have been promoting hard, showing women how to get legit, how to make money in their business, and also just, walking in their truth through that leadership that Vernetta talked about. And that's that big girl panties aspect, owning your ish. When you make it, mess up, you hold yourself accountable as a business owner. You're not acting shady. So I'm a big proponent of doing business the legit way and being authentic in who you are and just being legit all the way around. So that's something that I do in my business. And as Vernetta said, I do have a goal of helping throughout my business lifetime. My legacy is to help 1 million women build $1 million brands. And that is in doing it the legit way. Like, just not build a brand to say, I have this $1 million brand, but to have this brand and it's legit and it's something that you can actually pass off as a legacy to your family for generations. And that is my goal. And so what Vernetta and I are talking about today is because it's not even just with me, even with some of my clients, within the last couple of years, I've seen this thing with women in business, and I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I've worked with a lot of women. Like, I filed over, in the past 8 years I've been running my own business, I've probably filed over, I think last time we checked a couple months ago was 902 trademark applications.
Jeez, and mine took like 2 years, y'all. I'm not playing. Like, ReeJade and I were so ready to like pull our hair out.
Yeah.
It was long for no reason. We had to have gotten the worst agent to help us in that because she was so clueless, and she would ask questions, and we're just like, we answered that. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know how many times.
Yeah, we probably had an inexperienced, like someone who just got hired with them in terms of examining your trademark, and it actually took yours like 2 years to get processed. Then it took like almost another year after it was processed just to get the certificate.
Yes,
So it's
it
kind of
was just
like 2
crazy.
years total. Like, it was just a hot mess, and I just couldn't understand it. And and that's the type of service you get with working with me. Like, because throughout this whole process, Vernetta was stressed out, and I was just like, don't worry about it. I'll handle it. We're going to get this done. Don't worry about it. And we, even though I wasn't communicating with her every single day, she was confident enough to know that, okay, ReeJade is working on my matter. I know things is moving along. And that's pretty much what we do. We try to take the ease off of legal, because legal can give you a headache if you don't understand it. And that's what you're paying for. You're paying to have someone handle your matters for you. But nonetheless.
And you're able to explain it. That's
Yes,
very
yes.
important because, the legalese talk, I think I'm a pretty intelligent person, but sometimes when I'm reading contracts or looking at something, I'm like, maybe I didn't understand or interpret this correct. ReeJade, what does this mean?
Right. And yeah, and that's my job, like, to make the legal, not be so daunting. And then also to educate you, because that's where I see a lot of women fail in business, not understanding the legality of their business and how it works, and in understanding how it ultimately plays into you growing as a business. And I try to and that's what makes me unique as an attorney, because I just don't focus on the legal. I look at your overall business goals, and I come up with a business and a legal strategy plan for you. And so that's what makes me a lot different from other attorneys. I just don't tell you like, okay, file this trademark then what if you change your mind in 5 years? What happens then to the business and that trademark? See, I try to fuse everything together. And so that's why I say I'm a big proponent of being legit in that profitable side of business, because nobody goes into business just to spend money. We want to get a return on our investment. So if you're investing in a trademark or a copyright, you want to make sure you're getting a return on that. You just don't want to be filing things and don't understand how that's going to impact your business. And so that's really what I do in a nutshell with helping women. But in terms of these referrals, so what I've been seeing the trend lately is that with these referrals and people, it is really, I'm seeing that it's not even just the quality of the referrals. So here's what's happening. Like I said, with those numbers, filing those many trademarks, you can imagine I get a ton of referrals, and I do. And I am very selective of who I take on and things like that, because I can end up spending 2-3 years on your matter. And if I'm going to be tied down to you for 2-3 years, I want to make sure I like you, right?
Like dating.
I want to make sure I actually like you. So I'm very picky about the referrals, and it also depends on who's referring you, right? And so recently, someone referred someone to me to handle their trademark last year. And I'm always upfront with, the trademark process, how long it's going to take, depending upon, number one, who's examining your application once it's submitted. Number two, it depends on the evidence that we submit to prove your trademark, if they want something different based on how you're using it. And three, it depends on how you're actually using the federal trademark. And I explain that to people generally. Before they even look at your application, it takes 3 months, right? So after we file, it takes 3 months. So that's 90 days. And sometimes if they're not backed up, it could take up to 5 to 6 months to just review it. And I had to explain, and I always explain upfront that it could take up to 6 months to a couple years just to get through the initial reviewing process.
Because this is the government. Okay, I just want people to understand that. It's not like they care to move fast.
Exactly. And I try to explain that to people, and it really depends on if they're backed up. It depends on a lot of different things, if they're changing laws. A lot of things go into play, and I try to explain that upfront, that the federal trademark process is not a quick one. It's not. And a lot of people think that when it's filed, like, okay, where is it? No. It takes a while. And I'm very clear in that. I'm very clear in my contract. I'm very clear in my consultation. So nonetheless, someone comes to me. They were referred by someone who I did their trademark. They referred to me for me to do their trademark. And so, I quoted them, even gave them a discount. My normal fee for a trademark processing and, the whole process is $12.97. But of course, when I get a referral, I always like to discount because, there's just good business principles. This is someone new coming to me that was referred. Want to make, I want to promote good business practices.
Good customer service.
Yes, absolutely. So I always give a discount when someone is referred to me. Always. It's automatic. And so this particular person, I even gave them additional discount because someone was actually already in the process of using their mark. It's kind of similar to you, Vernetta. And I knew they didn't have that much capital to get this done, but because this was such a strong friend that recommended them. So this person was someone like UV, someone who I've known for years, done business back and forth with them for years. So I didn't question their referral, period. It was no doubt in my mind this was a good referral. So I was like, okay, so I discounted so the price was $12.97. That's usually what I charge for a federal trademark now. On top of filing fees. Outside of that, this person's fee I charged them only $5.75 plus their filing fee. So that's a huge discount on their part.
Explain the process. Less than 50%.
It is very, very. But it was a simple thing. She had the proof, so it was nothing that was going to be a headache, But I did explain, the timeline, the frame. Her trademark wasn't actually reviewed until this year. We filed in December of last year. But it did not get reviewed until April of this year. And I explained this to her. I let her know once I got the notification that it was being reviewed. And then I explained that the clock is going to begin running on the time frame for them to see if she's using the mark in the way that she said. And I explained that this can take up to 6 months. So 6 months from April, okay? So within not even a couple months, recently, within this past week, she emails me saying that, what did she say? Oh, she's disappointed that I charged her $5.75, that LegalZoom only charges this, and blah, 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 right? So this is where the rant on Facebook came from, because it was just so disheartening for me to offer this person a discount. She knows she's getting a discount. I did not put a gun to her head and said that she has to choose my services. And so here's the deal about people and clients. And before you hire anyone, I don't care what it is, whatever service provider, you need to do your own research. It's not my job to tell you like, oh, I'm cheaper than LegalZoom. No, that's not how business operates. You come to me. And if you're coming to me, it's on you to do your research. No one owes you anything. And this is what I'm seeing in women in business playing victim mode. You feel like you're getting taken advantage by coaches, attorneys, and things like that. But the reality is you're not doing your job as a consumer. You're not, number one, you're not doing your research. You're just accepting what anybody tells you. You're not looking into things. And then you're not paying attention to what you sign. Because
Yes.
it's clearly, I'm an attorney, so clearly I have timelines written in written form. So if you don't read, how is that my problem? And just being ungrateful and lacking business etiquette, that's just something I'm seeing in business.
And to kind of go with what ReeJade was saying, because you all know in season 1, I talked about how this business coach just kind of threw me for a loop and took me all around the world. And I ended up starting right where I, came to her from, because I was new in business and I didn't know any better than if someone said that they were a business coach, I just assumed they were being honest and forthright, with who they are. And as you spend a little bit more time in the business world, you really start saying that sometimes people aren't who they say they are. But in the case of, like ReeJade was saying, is the lady was being ungrateful, is it become, for me personally, it's one of those frustrating things that you're going out of your way to make sure that this person has above and beyond customer service experience. And because things aren't moving at the speed of their clock or their calendar, now is your fault. Like, you can go control the federal government. Like, I have people get mad at me because they haven't received an email from somebody else on a blog campaign, and I'm like, do I run that company? Like, do I have anything to do with that? It's one of those things that ReeJade is talking about, where people are being ungrateful. I'm seeing that. I've experienced that. And it's just like, what are we supposed to do? Go control other people to appease you for your instant gratification?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so how do you, so I guess like really like, how do you screen referrals? And it's such a tough one, because usually I have such a good relationship with my clients that when they refer someone to me, I don't think about it. So now it's like I have to go through proper screening checks, right? And so so now me and my team, and we haven't finalized it yet, but to avoid this problem in the future, because this is the first time really in like 6 or 7 years that we ever had an issue like this from a referral. Like, for us personally, I've had clients who've had this issue, but not me personally. And it's like you said, V, in the beginning, like a lot of my clients, they value me, they respect the value I give, because I always over deliver. Whatever you pay is never really the real value of what I give you, period. Never is. I always over deliver in my services and customer service. And I pride myself on that. That's one thing that makes me very unique as an attorney and business coach. So,
well, can I just say this, ReeJade? And if you don't want this, and I'll bleep it out of the editing, but ReeJade was on dialysis when she was literally calling me and keeping me updated on my trademark. Okay, how many people do you know would do that? So when I saw her updates, and I'm just sitting here like, I can understand if it's somebody else who's like, okay, whatever, I'll get back to you, and then they don't. But if it's someone who's like ReeJade, who that I don't even think is above and beyond. I don't even know what to call that type of customer service. But to have someone do that and bring quality, I'm like, you know what? Some people need to be a little bit more cautious of who they refer. Because sometimes, some of your friends could be iffy, but you're trying to help them, you know? And that could have been what the person who referred her was trying to do. Like, I know she has a good heart, or, has a good business idea. She may have been, taken advantage of, and she just needs a little bit of help. So let me make sure I put her with good people. Sometimes those good people get the brunt of that frustration from others.
Right, absolutely.
You and your team are going to change your vetting process. One thing I would say is you may want to send some information to those like myself, of people who send referrals, of like,
Mm-hmm.
XYZ, this is what I'm looking for. If they don't meet this, then, really think hard before you send that referral.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And oh yeah. And so, okay, so you posed the questionnaire earlier when we first started. So what do you do when you do get a shady referral from someone you know? So me personally, and I posted this on Facebook, me personally, I go directly to the person that refers them, because I want them to know. I do it for a couple of reasons. And some people may say like, oh, that's messy, ReeJade, or blah blah blah. But I don't think it is, because there's so much shady stuff going on behind business doors that some people just don't know. And they
Mhm.
generally, and when you refer someone, like, you're putting your name and reputation on the line, right? And so I want that person to know, like, hey, you refer this person to me, but things are not going so great. They've just been a nightmare. And because that makes them look bad, you know what I'm saying? If that got out there. And so I want them to know so they could go check that person. And because again, that's their name and reputation on the line. Like for me, I've referred some people to some people before in the past, and they have just totally been a nightmare to other people. And when I got wind of it, yes, I go to that person and I check them, because that's my name and reputation on the line. I'm vouching for you, essentially putting my reputation on the line for you. And this is how you treat someone else. That's not right. And so that's I definitely go to the person that referred them, like, hey, this is not, like, don't refer them to anyone else, because
You said anyone else.
yeah, like, don't do it. Like, I let them know, like, personally, it's not me. Like, I don't divulge detail. I just say basically they're just been a pain in my ass. Essentially, that's what I say. And then I leave it at that. Like, I don't go into specifics. I just let them know, like, hey, just be careful referring this person in the future, because I would hate for your reputation and word to be tarnished.
And, is more and more women, I guess you could say, coming into entrepreneurship because of Facebook. So I'm about to hurt some feelings, but I need to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really have an actual business. They just have a Facebook page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to get mad at other people because they're not receiving, quote unquote, the past the gatekeeper. I've seen this with my leak.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people know her. Someone posted on her Instagram what was the name of the book she was talking about, and she was like, I don't remember, it was from a few days ago, you should have screenshot it. And people just tried to rip her apart on Twitter. So, okay, so what does this have to do with referrals? I'm going to get there. And then they started saying, she's made it, she should help others, she should do this, she shouldn't be so stingy. And I'm thinking to myself, a lot of her information is out there, her blogs, social media, her podcast, like, she has free information, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we who are perceived as people who are in some type of place that other people want to be, people feel that if they send someone to us, we should automatically help them for free, not even for a discount, for free, because we made it and we should want to help others. Those types of referrals, for me, now, I don't talk to the person who was referred. I talk to the person who's doing the referral. Has that ever happened to you, ReeJade, that you get someone and they don't know? They had no idea that they were kind of in the mix between you and someone else. But I get it all the time, where people are like, you're so good in blogging, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't understand why, you just can't answer my questions with an
Mm-hmm.
S. Why you can't just help me out? And I'm like, dude, this is my business. If I'm giving you all the answers, how am I going to get paid?
Yeah, I get that a lot. And for me, it's like, for me personally, because I give out so much free information.
You
Like
do
literally,
a
I
lot
put so much on legal on my Facebook. If you follow me on social media, like you literally
on
can take my
Instagram.
yes,
Yes.
you can literally take my information and go do it yourself if you just sit down and ingest the information I put out. Even with the new podcast I have, like I walk you through actually filing a business. If you go to my podcast and listen to it, I tell you what to put in Google. I tell you how to, know what's the right business structure for your business. Like I really give you the whole outline to know what you need to do. And so when I get DMs in my box, like, so I'm moving, and so how do I close out this business and start a new business? Well, I'm not about to tell you because literally, I really, really already answered the question on somewhere other place on my platforms, whether it's on social media, my blog, or on my podcast. I've answered this. Number one, I've answered this question before. Number two, if you want me to help you with your particular matter specifically, I need you to pay my consult fee. That's not free. Just because you ask me a question doesn't mean you're entitled to the answer. And I think that's one of the things that we live in. We live in this entitled generation, and they think that just because you have a business that you're supposed to answer. And then I try to put it in perspective for people because yes, I am a small business owner, but they don't give you the same value that they would if it was Oprah or Marie Forleo or any other the big name hot shots. They think you're supposed to just stop, drop, and roll. And I see this with women of color particularly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have this issue with other races. I have this issue with women of color. Like I've never had this before. For example, a Caucasian lady, she contacted me recently. She asked a question on Facebook, and I was like, I can answer generally with like a difference between a trademark and a copyright. But if she wants something more detailed on her particular situation, she has to pay the consult fee. She was like, sure, just send me the booking information, and I'll look at my calendar and book. Okay, same scenario, but this time a woman of color commented, African American woman. She got so mad in my inbox, like, well, I'm just asking a simple question. No, it's not simple. You want information based on your situation, so you have to pay for that. If you're not willing to go to the Google Guides or even go to the resources that I have on my website to answer your question, then if I'm going to take time out my day, you have to compensate me for my time. And some people don't get that, and it's really an issue I see with women of color. They feel like, oh, because you've made it, you're supposed to help lift me up.
Mm-hmm. And it's
No.
almost like you're not part of the sisterhood if you tell someone no. And it's just
Absolutely.
like, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm an introvert. Most of my friends are introverts. We don't really hang out together and we all like each other. So, no, I'm not going to be offended if you say you don't like me and you're going to go and say that publicly because I didn't answer your question. When I'd spent years acquiring this knowledge and I'm supposed to just give it away for free now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then I'm thinking, if you are an entrepreneur, you would understand why someone can't take on a million referrals and give everybody, 2, 3, 4, 10 questions answered for free. How are they ever supposed to make money that way? And this is primarily in the African American woman entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
circle that we just assume we're supposed to help each other. I have no problem helping people at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like people would
Absolutely.
tweet me, DM me, message me, whatever. It's one question. I'll answer that one question. It's not a big deal. Now, if that person has come back 2 times, I'm like, here's a link. You can go ahead and schedule some time and we can get all these questions answered. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to pay that for that information. They're going to wait until someone else asks another question that they were going to ask and then try to screenshot that information. And it's lazy. I mean, that is way past shady. I've paid thousands of dollars over the last 7 years to get the information from people who had it. Like I've never gone to ReeJade and say, girl, just answer this question. I need this. Like, and we're good friends. I'm like, just send me the invoice and I'll pay it. And I've always paid her invoice. I've never like taken, and she's my friend. So in this whole circle of, well, and that's another thing we're going to have to talk about when we come back from a break, but how our friends think because we're friends that, things should be free between them, as if, oh, just refer me. But we know that friend ain't up to par.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick sip and then we'll be right back. Hey guys, did you know that I have a new weekly video series on my Facebook page, Vernetta R. Freeney, The Truth Confidant, and on my YouTube channel, Vernetta R. Freeney. It's called Let's Take a Sip. So it is a little bit about what I do here on the podcast, but I'm going to dive more into what it's like from the mental, emotional, and financial perspective of being a full-time blogger. So if you want to check out my weekly video series, comes out every Thursday. It's not going to be seasons like the podcast, but it's going to come out every Thursday. Make sure you like Vernetta R. Freeney, The Truth Confidant on Facebook, or subscribe Vernetta R. Freeney on YouTube. And remember, don't just live your truth, share it. I'll see you every Thursday for Let's Take a Sip. Okay, we're back. And so before break, I mentioned how ReeJade is a friend. I mean, we have each other's numbers. I've watched her daughter literally grow. I remember when her daughter was born, I got, the message and everything like that. But I, as her friend, would never say, girl, we're close, just refer me for this, or, just give me this information. I've always asked for an invoice. I've always paid. I've always made sure that when I send people her way, that they were credible. And I don't just sit there and refer ReeJade because she's my friend. I refer her because she's the best at what she does. And so it kind of goes on the other side too. Just because you're friends with someone doesn't mean you automatically have to refer them for everybody who's looking for what they do, if you know they're not ready.
Absolutely. And I think, like me, I'm very so now even with me referring people to others, and I've always thought that they would be a good source because they were good in terms of working with me. Even now, like before I refer someone, when they come to me and ask like, "Oh, can you refer me to such and such?" I'm upfront. I'm like, "Look, I'm not referring you to blah 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 because if you do this, like we're done as far as business relationship because that's serious. Like my name and reputation is on the line." So now, before I wouldn't say anything, but now I'm very clear. Like if I refer you, I expect you to be courteous, respectful, pay on time, or if you can't pay on time, you're keeping open communication and you're following through on your obligations. Like just all of that, just how you would treat me. Treat the person I refer you to as if you were working with me. Because you wouldn't treat me like that. So why would you treat someone else that I refer you to like that? And so I have that expectation now when I refer people, because it was just a big mess. Like, for example, I refer my best friend, my freaking best friend, to someone I've been doing business with for a long time. They done stole my best friend's money.
Oh, wow.
And
that could cause a rift between you and your best friend,
Well, she knows how I am, and she knows that, she was very upfront with it. She was like, look, like, I hate to come to you, but this person stole my money. I don't know what to do. And it was like disheartening because the person I referred to, like, I've been doing business with them for so many years too. And so I'm just like, oh my goodness. And, I had to mediate the dispute. And even this particular person I even got my best friend not to sue this person, because that's her business too, but just to work out a out of court resolution,
Yeah.
between the two. And the girl I referred her to didn't even follow through on that.
Wow.
And so my best friend was just like, you know what, just don't worry about it. And so based on that, I don't even deal with this other person, because if you do that to someone I sincerely care about, I don't want to have anything to do with you on a personal or professional level, because we come to you to help you, number one, when you messed up, when you dropped the ball in the beginning. And then on top of that, you stole her money and you didn't follow through on the second obligation that you said, And so lucky my best friend, she was just like, you know what, I'm just going to take an L on this. And I just felt so bad, because my friends lost money based on someone I referred to her, and she still didn't get the benefit of what she bargained for.
Yeah, and that,
And
I
so,
mean,
and basically, I ended
that
up compensating
sucks.
my best friend for her inconvenience because, you know, of course, she didn't want to take it, but I felt bad. Like, I felt like that was my business that took a hit personally. No, I didn't have an obligation, but the fact that I co-signed, I recommended. So, like, I was like, oh, girl, you need to go to such and such because, you know, like, that's how hard I vouch for this other person.
And you said the keyword cosign. Like when referrals happen, not only are you putting your reputation on the line, but you're co-signing, which means you're vouching for this person as saying, you know, I would do the work for them if they don't do it, in a sense. Almost like, when you're young and your parents have to co-sign your student loans. Let's not get into that. But uh,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, my mother did not. Well, I would say fortunately for her, she did not have to co-sign. Um, Long story, but all my loans are in my name, unfortunately. So I have no one to put them on. But that's what happens when you refer. Like if you drop the ball, like the lady knew, oh, I know what type of person ReeJade is. So if I walk away, I know she's going to handle it. That to me is shady that she did
Mm-hmm.
that to your friend, but the sheer fact that she knew you were gonna make sure that your friend was okay, that also speaks to your character.
Yeah, like it was just a big mess. And so even to this day, when people ask me about this particular person, I'm just like, I can't, you know, like, cause I'm not a messy business owner. I just feel like, well, I can't co-sign on that. Like you know, when people come to me, they're like, oh, such and such said I could come to you for, I'm like, well, I apologize, but I don't co-sign with that business owner anymore.
And you
I don't.
and you did that for me once. I
Mm-hmm,
I shared information that somebody we both know posted on Facebook. And Renee, like not even 2 minutes after I posted it, Renee was in my inbox and was like, she's not who she says she is, blah, blah,
mm-hmm,
blah. And so, I thank you because what if someone who knew this person was, not who she claimed to be and saw that I was co-signing that,
mm-hmm,
that information. And so to me, I think more people should speak out. Number one, that's why I have this podcast, so we can speak on these types of issues. But I've caught a lot of flack recently for speaking out about people that I said I wouldn't refer. I never said their
mm-hmm,
names. People have figured it out. But my thing is, if you're not ready, you're not qualified, you're not up to par, then there's no way that you should be mad that someone is saying publicly, no, I don't really think these people are who you should be working with right now. I didn't say forever. I just said right now. And so I'm grateful that Rajay, kind of hopped in my inbox and was like, ooh, she's not who she claims to be.
and that's all I said. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
she
go
didn't
into
say
details.
nothing else. She didn't tell me the reason. She didn't give me anything else. And so I took her word for that. And guess what? I really haven't been seeing much from that person in regards to what I had shared that she had posted. So you start watching people. Like I
Mm-hmm,
had a friend who was, I don't want to say she was confronted by someone, but she was in regards to a person that we both know. And so
mm-hmm,
she said she felt embarrassed because she was like, I vouched for that person before on multiple occasions. And she was like, I
mm-hmm.
had no idea she had this reputation. And so she told me about it, and I started watching the person, and then I had the exact same issue happen to me with that person that my friend was warned about. And so when I confronted the person, I became the bad guy. That person went out and played the victim. And I'm sitting here like, chick, you do know there are other people who've had the same experience, but I'm not going to go and say, so and so and so, I'm not going to go out there and say it. However, I stopped referring this person, and then so it became a bigger issue than necessary. But if someone is telling you this person is not who they say, you don't just automatically write the person off. You start watching to see
Mm-hmm.
if they are who they say they are, who they claim to be. Because I'm sure if the person that Rajay was with this situation with the trademark. I'm sure if someone has said, if they knew, because ReeJade doesn't really post her client names because number one, she, that's kind of
confidential. Yeah.
yes, it's not like
unless you all be like, yeah, go ahead and show it. That's why recently I've just started doing like video, testimonials on my website because it is a confidentiality thing. But a lot of people are like, oh, I want to see more testimonials. So if people say, yeah,
and
you
she
can
knows
release
she can always send
and I
people
do.
my way. Like I'll definitely give my experience. But the thing is, if someone had known that she was working with this particular person and they knew she's done this before, because this is not the first time. Because, the way from what ReeJade has told us, this is not the first time this lady's done this to somebody else. If someone had just said, ReeJade, just watch yourself, I'm sure ReeJade would have known a different way to approach this person. And when this issue popped up, ReeJade would have definitely known what to do instead of sitting there like, okay, now I have to change my whole vetting process for one person. And so again, I'm a teacher and I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm saying and what ReeJade has been saying about the referrals. Reputation, our credibility, our integrity, all of that's tied to these referrals. The people you're sending, you're tied to them. The person who sent them, is tied. Everything's tied. So you have to be very clear and you have to be very careful who you do business with.
And I want to piggyback on that, V. We live, a lot of business nowadays is done online, right? Where people can pretend to be whoever the hell they want to be, right, behind the screen. And that's so hard to know who you are working with. And that's why referrals become so important when you're working primarily online. And a lot of us that, we do work online. Like me, I'm primarily online. I'm going to be transitioning to more remote, like here in Detroit soon, but I'm still be an online business boutique essentially. But it's just so hard nowadays learning. And I want you all to know that if you've been taken advantage of or you drop the ball, even on your end, it's okay. But the thing is owning up to it when you drop the ball. It's been sometimes I've dropped the ball in business, but you won't ever hear me trying to cover it up or hiding it or anything like that. It's a learning experience. Business is a learning experience, and you should be able to grow. You're not going to come out, start a business and be perfect, right? No one is. Like I've had some legal stuff come up on my end as an attorney when I dropped the ball, but I had to I had to be accountable. I had to ensure that moving forward that I didn't repeat these same mistakes, as a business owner, and to ensure that mistake I made, that my clients don't make those mistakes as well. And so it's all about learning and not to feel offended or victimized when you're called out on your mess. For example, if you're one of those people who are just a tacky business owner and you're taking advantage of people, you can change today. But go back and own the mess that you've caused. Any inconvenience you caused people. If you owe someone money and you did not deliver what you said you were going to deliver, go back and try to rectify the situation, because things are the online business community is so small. Like, for example, let's give you some perspective. Vernetta's in Texas, I'm in Michigan, and I was able to let her know about someone that she was co-signing for, like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
So that gives you perspective of how small the online business community is. We're all connected in some kind of way, especially women of color. There's not many of us doing business. And so names and things.
I don't want to cut ReeJade off, but I know people think online makes it seem like everybody's doing a business. Everybody really does kind of know somebody who knows somebody else. Like, it's really not as big as people think. So your reputation will get around if you are shady.
Right.
It just will.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they think being online means that you're invincible, but it doesn't. And you really need to work on those behaviors now. You're not going to be perfect. No one expects you to be Mother Teresa, but people expect you to have integrity when you mess up. When you f up, own it.
And I've written blog posts and done podcast episodes, and but another thing is I've tried to, now some people, they didn't want to talk. That's a totally different episode. But I approached the people. I'm like, hey, we got this issue, blah, blah, blah. But the people who want to play victim and just, I'm like, there's no way we can resolve it if you're just going to play victim in the situation. Like, you may not have liked how my tone was, but you need to also address what you did. And so my thing is, I know I don't have the nicest tone in certain situations. And no, I'm not working on that. I just want to make that very clear, because in certain situations, I feel being direct is necessary. However, I'm not going to be rude. And I've said this on multiple episodes. Like, I'm not going to call you out of your name. I'm not going to talk about you or any personal thing that you have shared with me. I'm going to stick to the situation. However, we as a entrepreneur community, we have to do better when it comes to holding ourselves accountable.
I'm going to say something really important.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so back on that, what you were just mentioning is women in business. This is what I see with women. Women in business, you have to get out your feelings. It's nothing personal. It's business. So if I come to you and I'm being direct, this is business. Like, even like I said, like we're friends and we do business, but like we talk, we joke around, but when it's time for business, it's business.
We serious. Like,
it's business.
No more
it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal, Like, for example, for this call today, I knew I was going to be late, so I text you like, hey, do you mind if we push back? But someone who's like a friend, they may not even contact you. They're like, oh, she'll be all right. I'll get there when I get there. No, that's unprofessional. We had a meeting at a certain time. You expect me to be on time. So I contact you like, hey, do you mind if we push it back a little bit, because I might be late getting to the destination. And that's business. But some people, they be like, oh, we girlfriends. She'll be all right. I holler at her when I holler at her, or don't even show up. You see what I'm saying? And we have to get better at that. Like, some women, they can't switch it on and off. And I noticed that a lot with a ton of my clients. They don't know how to switch off business and personal.
And the thing is, they always want to be friends. Like, I don't want to be friends with everybody I do business with. If it happens, it's great. But I've had people mad at me because I'm like, we're not going to be friends, like, ever. And it's like, we are just going to do business. I can't even do business with some people because they didn't understand that I was only trying to have a business relationship with them. I'm not trying to go out to happy hour with you. I'm not trying to listen to your life story, because I don't want all of that emotion. Like, I've been called an empath. All I know is people drain me because they feel the need to share all of their emotional burdens.
They like to dump.
Yes, why I had to stop doing detox to BS, because I'm like, this is very draining. Like, extremely draining. And I didn't feel like I needed to go pay a therapist to go talk about other people's issues. So I was like, let me just stop listening
absolutely
to other people's issues. But I know, like ReeJade said, and this year was a very hard year. A lot of you know that for me. And I've had to consult ReeJade several times. I was like, send me the invoice. Like, I know she's my friend, but at the same time, I'm going through business issues. And I'm like, send me that invoice. Like, we cut off the keying. And I'm like, okay, I'm the client right now. Send me the invoice, because we got to handle this situation, because if we don't, things are going to get messier.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, overall, it's just like, with doing business, women, we have to, and men don't have this problem. That's why men is so great about building multiple $1 million businesses, because they know how to have fun as men and get down to business. And women, we're just so emotional about things. They be like, oh, she didn't, for example, I have friends, they know I'm an attorney, they know I do trademarks, they know I do copyrights. Some don't come to me. Some don't, for whatever reason. I don't take it personal. for whatever reason, they felt like their business was better elsewhere. Yeah, I'm sad, but hey, it's business. It's not personal. You know what I mean? And likewise, some people go to other people to coach with. They don't come to me, and it's okay. I'm not offended by it, by either way. But some women, they get so in their feelings. They want to badmouth people on Facebook, all the other social media. You know, it's just like, get out your feelings, girl. It's business. Obviously, it was something someone else was providing a value that you weren't able to deliver, that they were looking for. You know what I'm saying?
And you
You're not
can't
gonna,
always count on your friends. Like, you cannot think that your customer, like all of your friends need to be your customer. You know what? In actuality, most of my friends have never been my customer. What I
mm-hmm,
sell, they don't need or whatever, but they've referred people, they support, like they do
absolutely.
other things. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting here and saying, "Oh my God, I am never going to talk to ReeJade. She did
Exactly.
not send that. She did not do that. She like, why would I do that? First of all, we're not even in the same state. So if she refers a Detroit blogger over a Houston blogger, how could I really be mad? You know, if the person is in
Right.
Michigan. So you also have to look at the whole situation. Maybe you weren't, and like, if you're friends, you know, if someone is going through something, okay, I'm not going to refer this girl because I know she got a lot on her plate and she's not going to be able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've told someone, I'm like, I know you're going through a lot. Why don't we get some stuff off your plate? She blew it up and said I was attacking her and all this stuff. And I'm just like, and you know, sent the email to another friend and I'm like, so what did I do wrong? She was like, she is really in her feelings. You just gotta let her you know, vent and all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm trying to help you. I see you drowning. You were literally drowning and I'm trying to help you. And so we as women, we really have to stop thinking in a place of, you know, like defense. It almost feels like you're in defense mode all the time instead of offense. That's gonna take a minute for some of y'all to get that.
Yes, to get that. Absolutely. So look, okay, and so let's backtrack to like the whole my Facebook rant real quick. So a
Hmm.
lot of you are probably wondering, like, okay, so what came of that? What did I end up doing ultimately? Well, usually when I get a difficult client, like I said, it's been years since I had this issue. Seriously, usually I just let them go, like, because I don't have to deal with stuff like that. And when I offer you a discount like that and things like that, I'm really losing money. Because when you think about it, if I'm charging you $575 and I particularly can be on your matter for over a year, that's not really $100 a month. That's less
That's
than
not,
$100 a
yeah,
month
I
for
was
me
gonna
to
say
work.
that's not minimum wage. That's like,
It's not. It's not. It benefits me not. I don't win in this situation, period, at all. So no, I don't have to deal with your BS. And so basically what I did was I emailed this person back. I responded to their inquiries, very professional as always. And I outlined all of her accusations, really, about timelines and her copies of her contract, highlighted portions that she signed in initial in terms of timeframes, also highlighted what her package included, and also included the difference between me and LegalZoom. And also pointing out that I gave her basically more than a 50% discount on her services, and that she had the opportunity to research other legal providers that can handle her matter. I and also highlighted that I did not put a gun to her head to hire me. Um, and I told her moving forward, if she has any more questions or concerns, she should call our office during normal business hours versus emailing us a temper tantrum. And I left it at that. And we haven't had a response back from her, because I'm pretty sure she realized she was in the wrong. Once I outlined all her concerns were invalid and insincere, and showing the difference between what we give her overall versus what she could get from a company like LegalZoom.
and you probably won't get a response because first of all, when you lay it out like that,
Mm-hmm.
in so much where the person realizes like, oh, you know, she's
Mm-hmm.
legit. Like, that's when you start really knowing who's legit in business and who's not. Because if Jade had came back and was like, "Girl, do you know who you're talking to?"
Mm-hmm.
She would have lost all credibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All credibility. And so there are I've experienced it myself. There are a lot of people who would throw a tantrum because you tell them no, or they're not getting their way from you, and you're like, here's what is in my control, and what's in my control, this is what I've done for you. They can either take
Absolutely.
it or not.
Absolutely. And that's pretty much what I was, letting her know. But I know where it's coming from because a lot of people in business have been taken advantage of. And so I
Hmm.
get it. I get it. A lot of people, people take their money and they don't see things. So they're always in constant victim mode. I've been a victim of some business owners. I've been a victim of some coaches like me. And it's like, you can't, of course, be cautious, right? Be cautious. But if someone is very responsive to your concerns and they're not blowing you off, they can show you receipts of what they've done for you, then you really just need to chill. Really, you just got to chill. You have to get out. If someone, like for me, like anytime someone has emailed me questions or concerns, I've always welcomed the opportunity. Give me a call me. I'll even talk to you outside of my normal business hours if it's more, effective for us time wise. I'll go outside my normal hours just to talk to you to make sure we're on the same page, so there's no confusion or anything. And when I give you that opportunity and things like that, and you don't take it, it's out of my hands. And you still want to throw a
Yeah.
tantrum.
I mean, there's only so much people can do to rectify a situation if the other person is not willing. Like if someone now, say there's another problem, not with ReeJade and this person, but like in business general, someone has, and you give this person options. Here are the available options. Well, these are not good enough. Okay, the person who said these are not good enough, you have to understand these are the options that are available at this time. You either accept them or you wait until better options in your mind are available. You can't make the other person bend when they don't have those options at that moment. So if the lady comes back and says, well, that's not good enough, I want you to do ABC, again, ReeJade shared what's in her control. And that's with anybody listening. If you receive a referral that's, just giving you a headache, you just tell them what you can control, and you have to be okay with that. They either take it and say, okay, let's figure out how to work through this, or they're like, I'm out. Okay, thank you for your business. I wish you the best. Good luck.
Yeah, and I think it works both ways for those who are like getting clients or consumers, or for those who are hiring people to work for them. It goes both ways. Like you're not obligated to do anything with anybody. Like I see business owners taking on people because they feel like they need the money. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to take those type of clients. And likewise, for those who are hiring people, you need to do your research. You need to, that's all it boils down to. And stop acting like a victim and do business. Do business the legit way. And that's what I'm always preaching. Put your big girl panties on. Quit whining and complaining about stuff. Focus on what you're supposed to be doing. And everything will work itself out.
Well, that is a good way to leave that. And so we're going to get ready for our final toast. And this is kind of just sharing our takeaway. So I'll let ReeJade go first in just a moment. Okay, so ReeJade, what is your final toast from this episode?
Yes, I would like to leave you all with this. When you're doing business, be really clear on what you expect when we're doing business with people, whether you're referring people, making sure the person you're referring to someone, that they're clear on your expectations from them. And then likewise from the person that you refer them to, how they deliver. And don't ever feel like you have to do business with people like you're forced to give them free information or products and things like that. No, you worked hard. You put in the blood, sweat, and tears. It's always good to have good business etiquette and customer service, but never feel pressure that you have to give away your services and stuff for free just to get a client. Never do that. Never diminish your value because someone doesn't see value in you. And just make sure that overall you're just doing business legit. You're holding yourself accountable when you drop the ball, and just be mindful that, you're not going to be perfect in business, and that's okay. But just be open and honest and just really get out of victim mode and start wearing your big girl panties and do business the right way so you can get profitable.
Okay, get out of victim mode. Okay, so my final toast is, and you're going to hear me talking about it a lot, integrity. Integrity is so important, especially when you do referrals, because you're putting your credibility, your reputation, your co-signing, receiving and sending them, and the person and who's doing that. And you just want to make sure that everything you're doing is of integrity. Now, there are a lot of things you can't control, but what you can control, that you want to do that with the utmost integrity. So that's all we have for this episode. This is season 7, episode 2, Shady Referrals. And this is with Vernetta Arfrini and my co-host today, ReeJade Richmond. Thank you so much for listening. I almost said watching. For listening, and I will have more information about ReeJade in the show notes.
Bye.